Hello everyone and welcome to Journey to the Maya and Beyond. I'm your host, Rafielle Usher.
And I am Flor.
And we got a great show lined up for you today.
Today we're going to learn about my people, the Mayan Indians.
And we also going to take you on a jungle expedition to a hidden Mayan ruin called the La Aguada, hidden deep in the jungles of the Yucatan Peninsula.
We will also show you a reggaeton video by this Latin artist, Zurdo.
And we also got a special interview with a missionary by the name of Josh Murray.
And at the end, you will learn to cook some Mayan food.
With Cooking in Maya with Flor. Yum! So I tell you what guys, we'll see you right after this.
The Mayan civilization was a Mesoamerican society established during the pre-classic period, which was from 2000 BC to 250 AD. The civilization took up the Yucatan Peninsula and spread into parts of Mexico and Central America. The Maya used and fully developed a writing system called hieroglyphs. They were known for having the only fully developed written language of the prehistoric Americas. The Maya used this script on monuments and on stelae to honor rulers. It was found in papers as well, but the Spanish conquistadors ruined most of them. Maya art is considered to be some of the most beautiful in the ancient world. Their carvings show excellent observation of the human form, which was uncommon for many later generations. They often used a rich turquoise blue color, now known as Maya blue. The step pyramids are one of the Maya's greatest accomplishments and are believed to have been rebuilt every 52 years because of the calendar renewals and new rulers. Their structures started out with open plazas, but later became very defense-orientated, which suggested civil unrest. The Maya religious practices centered around celestial and terrestrial cycles. It was the priest's job to make prophecies about the future based on the calendar cycles. Human sacrifice was a part of the Maya religion. As the person was held by their arms and legs, the priest would use a knife to rip out their chest and take the heart as an offering to the gods. Of all the Mesoamerican calendars, the Maya calendars are the best documented and the easiest to understand. The famous idea that the world will end in 2012 is based on the fact that the Maya people did not record any time after 2012. The reason is unknown and there is no record of the Mayans claiming the end of the world.
Now that we've learned a little bit more about the Mayan Indians, now we're going to take you to that La Aguada expedition. Take a look at this.
Well, we were traveling to a nearby village from Filomena Mata, and we were supposed to visit a church to do some music for them and to do some skits. And we were just waiting for everyone to get there, and some of the natives and the driver told us about a Mayan ruin that was close by, and they said they could take us there. So we all loaded up in the back of the truck, and there were butterflies everywhere. I remember green and yellow, and there were like millions of them, more than I've ever seen in my entire life, just flying all around. It took us probably like 10 minutes to get to where we were going. We ended up parking and all getting out and traveling through the woods for a while down a trail that was kind of hidden. And into it, we passed by a really cool, it looked like a draining system made by the Mayans, and it was really interesting. I didn't really know much about the Mayan building or any kind of
It was very well constructed.
architecture.
But it was covered by most of the jungle.
And then it started to steadily incline, and we thought we were just kind of going up a hill, but it turns out that was the beginning probably of the structure, the pyramid.
Yeah, the jungle had kind of taken over everything, so it just seemed like a big hill when we were walking, but it kind of was very gradual at the beginning and then just kind of suddenly shot straight up. Most of the jungle had grown over everything, so you had a lot of trees and stuff growing out of rocks, which there weren't any rocks anywhere else. So as we kind of traversed this thing and went up, it was kind of like a lot of switchbacks going around trees and like climbing up on some of the different rocks, and there's a lot of different stuff growing in and out of it. We reached like a small cave looking thing, and the guides told us we had to go through the cave to get to the top. So we went one by one. We had to go in backwards because it was such a small fit.
I just remember it going from, we were just walking down a trail to like we ended up climbing up things, and Raph kept on saying 3 points of contact, 3 points of contact. As long as you got 2 hands and 1 foot on the earth at some point, then you won't fall. And so we were trying to be careful, but we came in contact with all kinds of wildlife like ants and some kind of tree that gave you guys a nice little Mayan tattoo for a few weeks after.
Yep.
But going into the cave was really cool. It was so small. It was probably like big enough for you to walk in individually and go up one after another.
It was like crawling through a porta potty, except it didn't smell bad.
It wasn't like crawling through a porta potty, but anyways.
When we got to the top, you could see for miles around because a lot of the Mexican jungle is very flat. So it was actually, that's when we realized like this was obviously some kind of man-made structure, because there's no natural hills or anything in the area. It's just very flat, but you could see other there was another structure the guides pointed out that was I guess it was the chief's house, or whoever the rulers were for the area at the time. It was like his house. Yeah.
It was either, I think it was more of his burial site. I think that's what they said. They said that the one that we were in was actually a smoke tower used for communication with the nearby villages, which I thought was really cool. When you got to the top, you could look down, and it's sort of like that moment that like takes your breath away, because you realize that you're so close to the edge, and it was a very small part to stand on, and there were all these really cool wild like plants that you don't normally see just up there hanging out. Beautiful. It looked like they were in a greenhouse or something, but it was just natural. On top of there, they get really great sun, I guess. But yeah, we stood up there for probably 10 minutes just hooting and hollering, and we were just so exhilarated by the whole thing. It was an amazing experience. We asked the guides if we were the first Americans to be up there, and they said, no, I don't think so. And we were like, well, maybe we're the first ones from Florida up here. So we kind of yelled some more and really enjoyed ourselves.
Okay, what's your dad's name? Patrick, your daughter is on top of the world right now. We're on top of this extremely high pyramid. And I dare to say we're the first Floridians on top of this pyramid, so it's not easy.
I say Americans.
I would say Americans too, because he doesn't know for sure, so there goes little Flor.
No, I'm just kidding. The walk down was not as difficult as the walk up, but it was definitely me in a skirt and sandals, because I didn't realize what I was getting into, just kind of trying to shimmy down the pyramid.
That's what real mission work looks like.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I felt like the team really kind of bonded. We were like at the top of a Mayan ruin together, just taking it in. So the entire purpose of the trip was just to really unite the churches that were around the area. There seemed to be a lot of division, and it was just amazing night after night hanging out with the kids and getting the people from different churches to come hang out together, and just having great sermons and great music and really good fellowship with people who we never would have met if it wasn't for this trip. We never would have seen in our entire life. It's amazing to see God work that way. And so I'd just like to encourage anyone that thinks they might want to be a missionary to Mexico or a missionary to anywhere, just contact OMI and figure it out. It's a really great experience. It's something that is amazing to remember, and it's not just an experience. You're doing God's work. You're fulfilling the purpose that we've been given.
And it's also just as important, if you don't feel called to the mission field or don't feel like you could really participate in events like this, that you're able to help support, at least either financially or spiritually as well. Prayers are always needed. But OMI is completely funded by just the local community. So trips like this are not possible without financial sponsors.
there's something to be said for the senders. There are always the people who go, who you say, oh, well, they're a big missionary. They go and they do these things, and they're really getting dirty and really sacrificing. But a lot of the sacrifice comes just from the senders, the people who support them enough to say, here, we're gonna be up under you, pushing you, and we're gonna be praying for you, and we're gonna be communicating with each other, letting your family know where you are and how everything's going. And it's just a complete team building process, just to have not only missionaries but the people sending the missionaries. So please just get involved and really support your missionaries.
Support.
I hope you enjoy La Aguada Expedition. Ahora les vamos a presentar el video de reggaetón con Alex Zurdo.
She just said, I hope you enjoyed the La Aguada Expedition, and we're going to show you the video from Alex Zurdo. It's going to be in Spanish, so I hope you enjoy.
Vengo haciendo la entrada y desde el cielo me acompaña la Fuerza Armada con el perfecto, el que me ha dado este intelecto, mi predilecto, por él es que vengo directo, es que mi Dios me ha revelado un par de cosas raras y mi deber es confrontarlos de cara a cara. Yo sé que hay muchos que dicen, Dios mío, dame la mano, pero se olvidan que han fallado en contra de su hermano. Emiten juicio, mucho ficticio, y luego te echan bendiciones el domingo en el servicio. Y claman puestos de rodillas, Dios nunca me falle, pero no muestran a Jesús cuando están en la calle. Y se preguntan, ¿por qué rayos yo no he prosperado? Si de venir todos los domingos ya estoy cansado. Y por él mismo continúan con el sermón, pero cuando pasan la ofrenda no sueltan ni un vellón. Entonces empiezan con la envidia, porque su hermano prosperó cuando pidió correcto en la vigilia. O si no es que empiezan a juzgar, este está metido en la calle y en la iglesia se viene a tapar. Y empeoran la situación, contagiando a otras personas y dividiendo la congregación. Y de sus bocas continúan los rumores de que los tiempos se los gastan los pastores. De todas las cosas siempre tienen las mejores, pero te apuesto a que te gustaría estar en sus talones. Y si buscas en la Biblia aparecerá de que a la gente por sus frutos los conocerá. Una palabra ya establecida, así que no se pongan a juzgar la gente bendecida. Este pueblo me deshonra, que la Dios me honra, pero su corazón está lejos de mí. Es que no entienden, porque no comprenden que nadie va al Padre si no es por mí. Este pueblo me deshonra, que la Dios me honra, pero su corazón está lejos de mí. Es que no entienden, porque no comprenden que nadie va al Padre si no es por mí. Y se me olvidan los que critican, los que con una voz sensible entre ellos se platican. Y en ancha puntería lo que aquel muchacho hizo, pero en la iglesia nos ofrecen ni a barrer el piso. Tu vida no sé cómo la has vivido, pero recuerda que el Hijo de Dios no vino a ser servido. En una cosa sí yo quiero insistir, que si no vivo para servir, no sirvo para vivir. Y si es cuestión de liderato, pues lo que es caro para ti, para mi Dios sería barato. O sea que el mayor vendría siendo el menor. Si te creías presidente, pues no eres ni gobernador, sino un servidor como somos todos, imitando a Jesús, lavar los pies si tienen lodo. Para servir a mi Dios hay muchos modos, de que vale que te diga si siempre le das de codo. Abre los ojos y entra en razón, donde se encuentra tu tesoro y estará tu corazón. Este pueblo me deshonra, que la Dios me honra, pero su corazón está lejos de mí. Es que no entienden, porque no comprenden que nadie va al Padre si no es por mí. Este pueblo me deshonra, que la Dios me honra, pero su corazón está lejos de mí. Es que no entienden, porque no comprenden que nadie va al Padre si no es por mí. Yo, Alex Zurdo, Mix One, que nadie va al Padre si no es por mí. Te lo dije que mi Dios no puede ser burlado, que nadie va al Padre si no es por mí.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Journey to the Mayan and Beyond. I'm your host, Rafielle Usher, and today I got a special guest, Josh Murray. He's one of the young men that traveled with us to the Mayan zone this past summer, and he's going to give you a special account of his perspective on how the Mayan zone was and how he experienced the Mayan zone. So Josh, tell everybody out there in TV world, what was your first impression of the Mayan zone?
The Mayan zone is something else. It's one of the farthest things from America that I've experienced. It's about 300 miles deep on the Yucatan Peninsula. Little to no electricity, indoor plumbing, basically unheard of. It's something else. It's definitely a long shot from what we're used to here in the States.
So what was the weather like?
Hot. We didn't get a whole lot of rain. It was warm. It's about what you'd expect from Mexico.
Yeah. So tell everybody out there, okay, it's our first day doing ministry. Because I know your first day we were just trying to take it easy, get everybody acclimated to the environment. But the next morning we wake up, we eat breakfast, and tell everybody what happens the next morning.
Estamos esperando. Raf had this big portable speaker that he would take out to the middle of the park that was there in the village and put on some music. This being in the middle of the jungle, it's not like there's a whole lot else going on. So these kids hear all this music coming from the park. They're going to come out and investigate. So we use that to kind of get them excited, let them know we're there, and have them looking forward to participate in what we've got going on that day.
Josh, why don't you tell everybody else that, once we finish with our morning get together, and it was time to teach class, walk everybody through that whole process from the park to where we were going.
Well, once we had everybody gathered in the park, we'd play some games together, kind of try to burn off some of those kids' energy.
Yeah, they had a lot of energy.
After we'd finished with that, it was time to get down to business. So what we wanted to do was teach them a little bit of English. The idea here being that their village isn't too far from a lot of real tourist kind of areas down in Mexico, like Cancun and Playa del Carmen. So if they can learn some English, get jobs in hospitality or hotels, they can make some money in Cancun, bring it back to the village, and really everybody benefits.
Right.
So we wanted to give them a little bit of something that they could use and would really benefit them.
Yeah. And so walk everybody through, okay, he doesn't speak Spanish or Mayan, and the kids don't speak English. So he's going to walk you through how we as missionaries in OMI Mexico break that barrier.
You really gotta act things out.
What do you mean act things out? Go ahead.
Once we got past the basics, the numbers, letters, things that you can just show them on a piece of paper and they'll know that A is A and the basic stuff like that. You get into some of the action words. We have point, circle, stand up, sit down, go, come, that kind of thing. But if I don't speak Spanish and they don't speak English, the only way to get that across is to act it out. So we've got a bunch of gringos standing in a church in front of, this group of Mexican children, and a lot of actions like look, and obviously stand up, sit down, and it was a lot of fun because we got to basically order the kids around for about an hour every day, and that was.
Yeah, it came in handy because when we did like be quiet.
Listen.
Yeah. So the kids had a great time and the Americans had a great time. And see, one of the important things we want you guys to know out there in TV land is that it doesn't matter if you come with us and you know how to speak Spanish or Mayan. It doesn't matter because the way our program is set up, you don't have to know how to speak their language. If you're willing to pretty much make a fool of yourself and act things out like he did, like I did, like everybody else did, you can pretty much teach any kid English. And like you said, the whole purpose was to get these kids, somewhat of a good English foundation so they can go get a job and take care of their families. But I'll tell you what, after we taught English class, we're going to get a little bit of spiritual for a minute. Tell everybody what happened after English.
Every day after English class, we went into the daily Bible lesson. We had some of the good Sunday school kind of stories, Jesus and Lazarus, the Good Samaritan, stories like that. And these lessons are entirely in Spanish. So basically, if you can read Spanish.
Now, could you read Spanish? Woo, yep.
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot to look at a piece of paper and say, well, I think that says niño.
Yeah. And see, that's the great thing about it. The Spanish language is so close to English is that they didn't have to actually learn to speak Spanish. All they had to do was pretty much read what was on a piece of paper. And this is the great part. Because we gave the kids such a hard time about learning English, when it was their turn to read in Spanish, of course, all the kids was like, no, that's not how you say that word. And they were just giving the teachers a big hard time because, they wasn't saying this word right. And my goodness, they just had a great time. and it was a great time.
Yeah.
You want to tell the world anything else?
No, I think that covers the,
I think that
the
covers
lesson
it
part
too.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, if you want to get involved with On My Mexico and get involved with missions, Josh, can you tell these people how to do that?
Absolutely. There's information on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, information on the bottom of the screen right now.
Use that. Get in contact with Raf here at OMI. I highly encourage anybody to do it. Missions isn't for everybody, but the only way to find out if it's for you is to give it a shot. Regardless of what you end up doing with your life, you're not going to regret the experience you have, especially if you work with OMI here in Mexico. And it's
a great place to be.
It is.
It is. It really is. Don't touch that dial, because Cooking in Maya with Flor is coming up next.
Hello and welcome to Cooking in Maya. I'm Flor and this is my special guest, Jessie. Hi, Jessie.
Hi, Flor.
Today we will be making quesadillas and salsa the Mayan way. To make the quesadillas, we need the tortillas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we already learned how to make the tortillas in a previous show. I'm going to teach you. This is what it looks like. And we're going to slice the cheese first.
Okay.
That's the first step.
What kind of cheese is it?
The name of this cheese is manchego cheese. You can normally get this cheese in any grocery store. Go to the Hispanic aisle and you will find the manchego cheese. You can also use Oaxaca cheese, and you can find Oaxaca cheese at the dairy section of the grocery store. So we're gonna make some slices.
How are these?
These are good. And
Okay.
if you cut them a little bit thinner, that would be even better because the cheese can melt faster. Now that the cheese is already cut, we're gonna put some slices on top of the tortilla, and we're not gonna cover it with another tortilla. We're going to actually fold it because this is how the Mayan people in Mexico do it. They fold it, and then we go to the pan that should be hot. Now we're gonna put the quesadilla in the pan, and we're gonna kind of hold it with a spatula so it will stay, and we're gonna wait until the cheese melts.
About how high should your stove be set to?
I would do it in a medium hot
Okay.
and wait for about 2-3 minutes. At this point, you will flip it over. You can do it with your bare hands or using the spatula. Okay, now that we are done with our quesadillas, it's time for our salsa. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna need our blender, which I'm going to just set here for a minute. We're gonna need some tomatoes,
Okay.
the regular tomatoes, or any kind you want. We need some onions and cilantro. Okay, so we are using 4 tomatoes here. We're just going to cut the ends like this. We don't want this in our salsa, these parts of the tomato. And we are going to use cut it in 4 or 6. Okay, ready, Jessie?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it. You can put it here, Jessie.
Okay.
Sometimes we have salsas in Mexico that are green color because we use a green tomato. And we can also add some avocado.
That's my favorite.
Oh, I love avocado salsa and the green tomato. But this time we're gonna use just the red one. Okay, here we go. With the cilantro, we are kind of chop it a little bit, but we can it's up to you. We can either chop it or just take 3 pieces apart and put it like that, because everything is gonna be blended.
Okay.
So we can do the cilantro, and you can do the onion. The onion is gonna be just a slice, like just peel off the bad part. This is not good. Okay, yeah, just put it in there.
Okay.
Since the tomato already has some water in it, we might not need it. It depends on how many tomatoes you use. But it seems like this is not going to be enough water to blend it. So we're going to add just a little bit,
Okay.
so the tomatoes will not get stuck when they get blended. Also, we're going to add some salt. I kind of use my hand to measure, maybe like a teaspoon of salt, and put it in here. And then we're gonna blend.
What speed should we blend it on?
Well, it depends. Like if you want it chunky, you're gonna use a lower speed. But
Okay.
if you want it very well blended, you will use a higher speed.
Okay.
So let's use this one for now. In this case, I want it very well liquefied,
Okay.
very well blended. I don't want it chunky. So okay. We're going to use our container to pour the salsa. And that's it. It has like a greener color because of the cilantro.
Okay.
But if you want it less green and more red, you add more tomatoes and less cilantro.
Okay.
Always remember that the cilantro will give it color. Tomato will give it color. So just remember and keep that in mind. Okay, let's clean up. Let's put everything away because we are almost ready to put our quesadillas in the plate.
Okay.
So let's bring the plate. And let's put the quesadillas. You can put them in.
Okay.
Like kind of like put 3 on them, facing that direction, like this. And then we are just going to spread the salsa. You want me to spread it? And sometimes what we also do is that we use a cream. It's milk cream that comes in a can, and you can buy it anywhere in the stores. And you just spread it all over the quesadilla.
Okay.
And it gives it a really good taste. So now it's time to try the quesadilla. So let me just cut a little bit. Cut it in half. You can have your part. Let's try it. It's so good. It is very good.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Tune in next time for another exciting adventure to Journey to the Maya and beyond.